Let's talk in this video about how the story of David and Goliath points us to Christ. Hello, welcome to Clarity and Brevity. The biblical account of David and Goliath in Scripture is among the most familiar of the Old Testament. But it's important that we read this story in the context of David's life and the role of David in the Old Testament. We might read the story of David and Goliath and think, here is a story about how we can face our giants. But it's important to see who it is that fights Goliath. It is specifically David. And we need to be even more specific than that. It's not just some Israelite who fights some other person from the Philistines. This is David, the representative of God's people, fighting against Goliath as the representative of those who are opposed to God's people. It's crucial as you read through 1 Samuel to see that before you come to the account of David and Goliath in 1 Samuel 17, you come to the account of 1 Samuel 16. And in that passage, David is anointed as the king of Israel. And so before David fights Goliath, he has been anointed as the king of God's people. He is therefore fighting Goliath, David is, as the representative of God's people. This is the same David that we will read about establishing God's kingdom as you continue to read through 2 Samuel. And so when you think about the story of David and Goliath, understand that we have a representative who is the king of God's people, who fights for us and delivers us from our enemies. This is the message there in the Old Testament, but it also points ahead to the coming of Christ, who comes as the Son of David. You see, understanding David and Goliath, where we have David as the representative fighting for God's people, helps us also see the way that Jesus comes as our representative. Matthew 1:1 opens with identifying Jesus as the son of David, the son of Abraham. Then there's a genealogy explaining how Jesus is the son of David. Now, as you come to the work of Christ in the Gospels, what you see is before Jesus begins his public ministry, he is anointed in his baptism. And it's after he's anointed that he goes into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And you see Jesus overcomes the devil in his temptations and throughout his ministry as we look ahead to the death and resurrection and Christ's state of glorification. And so the one who obeys for us, the one who conquers our enemies, the one who delivers us from our enemies, is Jesus, the anointed Son of David, the one who comes as king, indeed as prophet, priest, and king. And so by looking at the precedent from David's life, where we see David is the anointed representative who fights representatively for God's people and delivers them, that points us ahead to the coming of Christ, who comes as the greater Son of David, who is anointed as our representative and fights for us and delivers us from all our enemies. So understanding the context of David is very important for understanding the work of Christ in the New Testament. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Remember to keep it clear and focus on Christ.